Happy Thursday, beautiful people. It's a girl, Pamela Pacheco, aka Pamela Plug, and we are back with another live episode of Unplugged with Pam, brought to you by Chosen Global. Tuning in for this Breakfast Club edition with you guys each and every Thursday morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know a lot of you guys are tuning in from all over. So before we get into today's message, I need to say thank you. Thank you to each and every single person who showed up to Women Winning Wars and How We Flourish, our third annual Women Empowerment event in honor of my late mother, Bienvenida Reyes Arache, La Doctora, and International Women's Month. Thank you to each and every single speaker, because in one way, shape, or form, you brought so much value. Your authenticity, your vulnerability, your wisdom, your love, your light contributed to making this absolutely special. To the sponsors, the vendors, the volunteers, and of course, each and every single attendee. You guys made this exactly what it needed to be, way beyond my wildest dreams. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And guys, what you witnessed, it was not just an event. It was obedience in motion, because most of the people don't know this. Only the people close to me. On Monday, we had 15 people registered. Yes, you're like, wait, what? That's not the videos that I saw. I know. 15 people registered. By Saturday, 175. 130 checked in. And somewhere in between that, I had so many moments. I'm not going to tell you and be like, oh, it was a moment. No. I had a lot of moments where I almost quit. And man, I am so grateful to God that I didn't. And here's really what the reality of today's message is, that obedience is so much greater than our feelings. It's so much greater than numbers. It's even so much greater than logic, y'all. And when I'm talking about what I want to talk today about is not strategy, it's not marketing, it's not visibility. It is certainly obedience. Because some of us, we stay waiting for confirmation. Maybe some of you right now that are talking to me are waiting for confirmation when God already gave you instruction. And God never, ever lets hard work go unnoticed. But when he gives you a word, you gotta move. And you gotta move. And that's why I says the word of the Lord is a lamp to your feet. And it's not to impose my faithful belief upon y'all, but y'all know Jesus and I go together real bad, okay? But man, when I tell you the assignment doesn't always make sense, it doesn't. And I don't know if you've been there before, but it really doesn't always make sense. I didn't have the numbers. Sometimes you don't have necessarily the math ain't mathing for you, right? Sometimes we don't have the certainty. Sometimes we don't have the proof, but he gave us the assignment. Most people quit right in the middle, in that little middle awkward space. And I was most people, let me tell y'all, because yes, it was our third annual one. Yes, I got clear instruction. Yes, he was ordering my steps each and every single step of the way, from the title to the speakers to who to reach out to. What, like, every single aspect was ordained. But it's not easy to do it each and every single time. Because the reality is that the space where nothing looks like it's working is a tough space. It is. And faith starts the vision. However, obedience is what sustains it. And I don't know about you. Is it just me? Your feelings will lie to you. I know my emotions lie to me. Oh my goodness. I'm like, the disconnect is real. And honestly speaking, 2026 has been stretching. Maybe you could identify with some of the stretching I'm talking about. I don't know about y'all, but there's been some delays. There's been some pressure. There's been some hits. hits and blows to my confidence and my confidence. There's been personal battles. I'm going to tell you guys, I spoke about this a while, that my dad was sick and he was in the hospital what seems forever, nearly 2 months, 4 surgeries to the same day. I mean, life-altering surgery. Went from, they found cancer to now we got into chemo, all of these things. But this weekend, for some reason, I just chose obedience. And I'll tell you, I know it's not only some reason, right? The main reason is because I know I do this for impact. I know I do this for transformation. But when we got news right after the event that my dad is cancer-free, that biopsy results came back cancer-free, yes, I'm going to give y'all a praise break because my siblings and I was praise dancing. Yes, thank you, God. You don't always see what God is protecting you from. We don't always see what he is aligning. We don't always see what he is releasing while we are in motion, because we're just moving. But it was such a beautiful thing, because when I tell you your feelings were lied to you, oh my goodness, they will lie over and over and over again. But here's what this taught me once again, because it always reminds me of this when I am in seasons that I'm told to do something and I want to quit, and I'm like tussling with God. That's the only person I go back and forth with, okay? Me and God just like tussling back and forth. I'm like, you sure? Like, you sure you want me to do it like this weekend? I could just relax. Like, we don't really got to do it this weekend. We could do it another weekend. Delayed obedience is costing us more than we think. That business that you were supposed to launch, the content you were supposed to post, the pivot you've been avoiding, that call you were supposed to book, the prospects you were supposed to reach out to, the pitches you were supposed to send, the email campaigns that you were supposed to do. You're not stuck. You're just hesitating. And when I tell you, I remember one of my mentors once said, procrastination is the assassinations of your dreams, of your goals. And I'm just like, oh, goodness. But it's true. And you guys have heard me say this before. Perfection is the enemy of execution. So we have to get out of this place that things have to be perfect and every single aspect is going to be everything we want it to be and more. Because the reality is that when you are obedient, obedience builds authority. It builds authority. It builds everything. When I'm talking about, not only does it build your authority as far as visibility, your leadership, your business, your income, but visibility, it never comes from perfection. If I'm being honest, it comes from movement. I always say visibility plus credibility equals profitability, right? Visibility equals credibility, credibility equals profitability. Yeah. But obedience is what gets you visible. When I moved to Tampa, I knew a handful of people. And when God first told me, like, do the event, and I said this, I was on the WFLA Rooted in Progress podcast. Shout out to Deanne King and Terrence Middlebrooks. Absolutely incredible human beings. And I was on this podcast last week, and they were telling me, like, bring me to year one of this. I was like, man, year one was scary, because God had already been telling me to do this, and I didn't want to do it because I'm like, who's going to come? 3 people? 5 people? Like, I don't know nobody here. But I was out networking. I was out building community. I was getting active in my church. I've always been active in kids ministry, but I just needed to get outside. Commitment always does last longer in the context of community, and you guys have heard me say that. But that obedience is what gets you visible. And the reality is, when we think about what is keeping you stuck, like, what's the real reason you haven't moved? Well, I believe that you don't know sometimes what to do. Sometimes is that you don't trust yourself enough to execute it. Sometimes it's the fear of being seen. Sometimes it's the fear of doing it wrong because we're perfectionists. Can anybody relate to that? You're like, yes, I see the comments. Yeah, like, yes, yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's the fear of outgrowing your current life. Sometimes it's just the fear itself because you think for whatever reason you're not worthy of this success. You're not worthy of the greatness that God has in store for you. You're not worthy. Imposter syndrome is real. But here's what I do know, that if God gave you the vision, it's because he's going to bring it to fruition. We're not supposed to know the entire plan, but we have to trust him that he is ordering our steps. When I think of a lamp, my pastor, shout out to Pastor Aaron Burke, he did an illustration a few weeks ago when I was running my 8K. And he was like, the word of the Lord is the lamp to your feet. And he like showed a lamp, and like it was illuminating each and every single step. It was like lighting it up. And I was just like, man, it was such a beautiful illustration, because it also just gave me peace in that moment. It gave me peace right after that 8K. My dad was still in the hospital, right? We were dealing with all of these things. And I just kept reminding myself, okay, it's for today. It's for today. I know this event is coming up, and I was in no mental bandwidth, no emotional capacity to do this, because I was in fact winning my own wars and doing my best to just grow through what I was going through. But I kept remembering, okay, God, you're going to give me like one step at a time, right? One step at a time. So I'm going to take it one day at a time, because it says your daily grace is sufficient. He don't be telling us like, I'm going to just, no, in fact, he reminds us like, you got no business in tomorrow. You don't. You could make all of the plans, but I'm the one that's ordering your steps. So you got to trust me in the process more than you trust your best friend, more than you trust your significant other, more than you trust your mentor, more than you trust your life coach, more than you trust. And I believe that those are angels too, that God sends us, right? So that we're not doing life alone, so that we're not doing all of the things alone. But it's taking that time to also just be still. It's taking that time to just really listen, because I believe that all of the answers that you're searching for, you already have the answers within you. And when you are obedient, you're able to unlock a different version of you. I remember after this event, I was like, I will never, ever question God again. All of the ladies, we were discussing it on Tuesday, because a lot of them from my women's business group were there, and they're like, man, Pam, that was so beautiful. And some people asked me that weren't there, like, how was it? I said, girl, it was an incredible move of God. I can't say anything else but an incredible move of God. A shout out to one of my best friends, Samia, that flew in for a few hours from Miami to attend. It was like my childhood best friend. And it was so special. My sister did the opening in honor of our mom. It was beautiful. She did a spoken word that was just had everybody in tears. I did not wear waterproof mascara, unfortunately. So I was looking a hot mess after that. But it was so beautiful. Each and every the panel speakers, from the media to the health and wellness to the business and money mindset one, were absolutely incredible. One of my other sister friends, Hariatu Duboya, flew in from Ohio to be one of the speakers as well. Got to speak on 2 panels. It was just incredible. Our entire team showed up and showed out. Shout out to Eslin. The brunch sponsors, from Auntie Cafe to Kona Grill, my favorite sushi in Tampa, y'all. It was just an incredible, Gracie's mixologist was mixing the best mimosas all day. And we had mocktails too, for those that did not want to drink. But VIPs had unlimited mimosas, because that's kind of a perk of being a VIP. With the swag bags, we had Depot flowers, beautiful bouquets for the VIPs. Then I actually got flowers for all of the ladies to make their own bouquets and tie it in. It was just so beautifully orchestrated. I mean, don't miss the next one. You have time to plan. Like if you're like, well, when's the next one? It's going to be somewhere around March, it's always around my mom's heavenly birthday. So next year, I believe it's going to be like March 20th, 2027. So maybe you should save that date. I don't know. Maybe because it's the 4th year, maybe we'll make it like a 4-day, 3-night retreat or something. Who knows? I don't know where we're going with that. But all I'm saying is I've been doing this for years. And I know that most people, we don't need information. We need structure. We need strategy, and we need support. Because obedience without structure, it turns into overwhelm. And vision without execution, it turns into frustration. You are more frustrated about the action that you did not take. You are always going to be more frustrated about the risk that you did not take. You're always going to be more frustrated when you let fear take over rather than embracing the faith. You will always regret the things that you did not do versus the things that you did. So I know if you're the person that's like, man, I've been sitting on something, Pam. I've been sitting on a goal that I need to get to. I've been sitting on a brand. I've been sitting on a pivot. I've been sitting on a message. I've been sitting on a business. I've been sitting on a dream. I've been sitting on something that is another level that I know I need to step into, and I haven't stepped into it yet. I just want you to stop overthinking, and I want you to start moving. So one of those moves, if you don't know exactly what to do, is booking a strategy call with me. You go to my bio, pamtheplug.com, or follow me on all socials. Book a strategy call with me because we can identify what the assignment actually is. And more than anything, we can sit down and identify what's been blocking you, what's been hindering that growth from you. And more than anything, how are we going to build this the right way with structure? Because the life you're asking God for is on the other side of obedience. And no, hear me closely. Yes, you're like, dang, Pan, say that again. Yes, I'm going to say that again for you. The life that we have been asking God for is on the other side of obedience. So what does that mean? Obedience doesn't guarantee comfort. Oh, no. But it always unlocks assignments. It unlocks provision and purpose. Breakfast has been served. As always, it is an honor, pleasure, and privilege to chat with you guys live every Thursday morning. Make sure you are subscribing on all social media platforms, on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, the website. Sign up for our email list. It is so great to always be here with you guys. I am going to drop my Calendly link. It is going to be first come, first serve. I have a very, very tight number of spots to book these strategy sessions with you guys. But like I said, obedience doesn't guarantee comfort, but it always unlocks alignment, provision, and purpose. See you guys. Take care. God bless.